everyone, I'm Jill McConaughey, Manager of Marketing and Customer Success here at LinkPoint 360, and I'm here today to share another customer success quick tip. Our Cloud Edition is one of our newer solutions, and we are regularly publishing updates to enhance features and performance. With this version, users can sync emails, calendars, contacts, and tasks from any device or platform, as long as they are working with Salesforce and Exchange accounts. Everything is accessible via a web browser, and there's nothing to install, so it's a great way to centralize your account, manage users, and control how your data moves between systems. When I consult with customers on how to most efficiently deploy Cloud Edition, I find that very few are aware of or making use of the Profiles feature. One of Cloud Edition's strengths is how flexible the configuration is. Users can log in and set their own sync settings and know that they will run reliably in the background while they go about emailing and corresponding with their clients. But for admins who are looking to set up Cloud Edition for a number of users or even multiple groups of users, I think profiles are an effective approach to consistent data. So let's take a look at Cloud Edition for a few minutes. Now remember, this feature will only be available to admins, so if you are a standard user or you log in and do not see these options, nothing's wrong, you just don't have access. So as you can see here on my screen, I'm logged into my test account, and I know that I'm an admin first and foremost because I have this extra set of navigation here along the top. This reflects the hierarchy that's available to us in Cloud Edition. And again, if you're a standard user and you log in and you only see the home and the My Settings options, nothing's wrong, it's just a permissioning issue for you. So what I want to focus on again, like I said today, is this Profiles option. So let's just go ahead and click there. Profiles are pretty simple. It's just something I find not a lot of people are taking advantage of, and they work essentially like groups. So by default, when you start a Cloud Edition account, you have two profiles, Administrator and Standard User. And you can see here in my test account, I have an extra one for Custom Marketing Profile, and that's one that I created. Administrator profiles by default have access to a variety of additional settings, the ability to lock or set default configurations, and of course the user management. Where profiles comes in handy for administrators is grouping your users, and the grouping is usually based on a couple of things, and of course it depends on your workflow requirements or how your company is set up. One is you can put all of your users in a single standard user profile, and then you can apply all of the same settings for everybody in one shot. Makes things pretty quick and simple to deploy. Another way to use profiles, which I think is a little bit more effective, is thinking ahead to how you want your users working with the software. If you have a group of users that's heavily going to be syncing everything on their calendars, maybe that's your sales teams and all of their appointments and their meetings with clients and prospects, you may want to configure calendar sync a certain way. Conversely, if you have more internal teams where you only want to capture certain pieces of communication going back and forth, you may want to pre-configure the calendar sync a bit differently for that group. So in that case, you can go ahead and create different profiles and then import those users to those different profiles. Sounds like a lot of work, but it's really not. When you're on the subscription level of your account and you come down here to this profile section, by default you'll see this admin and this standard user option. How I created this custom one and how you can create a custom profile is pretty simple. You just click this create new button. It's very basic, so it's just looking for a label to put on the container. So you can go ahead in here and put in whatever you'd like to name this. Let's go ahead and name this EMEA sales team. So this is where I'm going to go ahead and set everything up for that one group of users. I click create. And you can see I got a confirmation telling me now that's an active available profile. So now I have my profile here. When I go to add my users later, it'll be an available option in the import users screen. Of course, you can check out some of our resources about how to import users in our knowledge base, or we can certainly send that along to you from our customer success team. But let's take a look at how to configure the profile. And you're going to want to do that before you add your users to it. So you'll just navigate to that profile. And you'll see currently, because it's new, no users. The power behind the profiles here is going to be in your sync jobs section. So any change you make to these settings is going to affect every single user that you add to this. So for example, you can go ahead and click edit for this calendar sync. And as you can see here, I have very similar sync settings that I would have had at the user level or if I'm configuring this for myself. But again, we're doing it in mass. So I can go ahead and say, I actually want everything on these calendars to sync because it's my sales team. I want to see every appointment, every interaction. I want their availability to be captured in every system. The rest of this is fairly straightforward, so we can go ahead and make sure all these settings and frequencies are correct, whether or not we want to maybe prevent some delete options so that no matter what, nothing goes missing. Usually people prefer for calendar to do that on the Exchange side. A lot of these settings are covered in other videos that we've done or articles, but you can really go ahead through this and make sure that this is going to match your workflow. And as I'm mousing over, if you're a admin, you should hopefully be familiar with this. You're seeing all these links to these locks pop up. So if I want to make sure that, and most likely you're going to want to do it up here on the actual sync, you can click these little locks, turn them a little bit darker color here, and that means not only are you pre-setting these settings for the entire profile, but any end user who logs in, looks at these, is not going to be able to change those settings. So from a data consistency perspective, super popular feature. So let's say I've done all of this. Now I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Click Close, and you'll see now the sync is enabled down here in this little checkbox, and that's all there is to it. Now nothing's running because I have no users, but what you should know is when you import your users to this profile and the user completes that setup wizard, the minute they're connected to their Exchange and Salesforce hosts, the sync will start to run because it's already enabled. It's just waiting to have users and data to move. So profiles are a really easy way to group your users, to preset settings, to make sure your data is consistent, and hopefully this little walkthrough about how the profiles in Cloud Edition work make your experience with it just that much more efficient. If you have any questions about this feature or any of our other features for our LinkPoint Connect editions, do be sure to email us at customersuccess@linkpoint360.com. We're always glad to send along resources or provide best practice consulting on our products.